Oh yeah, I'm that kind of Michael Myers fan where I do not mind Rob Zombie's Halloween, and if anything, I think it's a misunderstood movie that gets way more hate than it deserves. After the bottom of the barrel disaster that was Halloween Resurrection and the unfortunate passing of producer Mustafa Akkad, who had been the creative rights owner for Michael Myers since Halloween 4, the rights went ahead and reverted to his son Malik Akkad, who decided there was nothing else left to do than to start all the way from scratch, reinvent the character, enlisting Rob Zombie, an artist and filmmaker who had a very specific vision for how he made his horror movies, to reinvent the character of Michael Myers for a new generation. And in 2007, when this movie came out, I was 12 years old and lucky enough to have a father that didn't mind showing his son these kinds of movies, and is also probably the reason why I hold this Halloween film as a special place in my heart, because it's the first Michael Myers movie I ever saw. This was my introduction to the character and the Halloween franchise, and I'm not going to be oblivious to the fact that if you watch something for the first time, more than not, it's going to be one of your personal favorites just because it was your first. But even all these years later, I still really respect what Rob Zombie was able to do with the Halloween franchise, but also very much understanding now why Halloween fans really don't like this movie and think that he got the character all wrong. But enough of me blabbing on, let's just go ahead and hit play on Rob Zombie's Halloween from 2007. So right here with the movie, we open up with a familiar location, Haddonfield, Illinois, on October 31st, Halloween Day, outside of the Myers house. But when we step inside, this is for sure a different Myers house than we remember.
Somebody around here's got to make some money.
I'm all broken up here, bitch. I can't work. Maybe I'll choke the chicken, purge my snorkel all over them flappy ass tits. Bitch,
Can I get a waffle? Can I please get a waffle? Man, whoever's in charge of looking after the swear jar in the Myers household, I'd watch them because they're holding on to a gold mine. But here we can see the realistic approach that Rob Zombie wanted to take with the Halloween franchise and giving Michael Myers a backstory that is very similar to broken homes that real-life serial killers come from. He has a mother who's a stripper, a stepfather that is both verbally and probably physically abusive, and even a sister who today would probably join in OnlyFans. And I would be signing up. And with that kind of home life, this Michael Myers is the type of kid who goes ahead and kills animals before breakfast. And even when he does make it to school, he's targeted bullying by... Oh my... Is that Judy from Spy Kids?
I heard your sister got caught selling blowjobs in the bathroom.
Yeah.
Ball liquor. Check this out. I was thinking of making copies of Mommy for the whole school.
Oh, we talking nasty about family members, Judy? Alright, Sasuke? 10-year-old me was thinking dirty thoughts about Carmen. So you put that photo away of Michael's mother before I bust out my Spy Kids 3D poster. Now, as a kid, I didn't understand why Halloween fans hated this because I thought this is a great setup for why he would become this crazy killer. In the original, we only got 6 minutes of young Michael Myers, who was not speaking at all, seemed like he came from an average American household, and would really have no reason for killing, setting up a mystery so iconic that the rest of the franchise would try answering it some way, somehow. Oh, he's after family members. Oh no, Sasuke, he's part of a thorn cult. I mean, scratch that, he's not part of a cult, he is just a crazy being, but he's still after family. So I totally respect and understand if that's the reason you hate this movie, but I think it was the smart thing to do, because if you just gave us the same no-answer motivation that Michael has in the original film, then what's the point of reinventing the character and doing something different? I like it when remakes do this, and it's one of the reasons I'm a defender of the 2019 Child's Play reboot. If that movie went ahead and just tried giving us a carbon copy of Brad Dourif's Charles Lee Ray and his interpretation of Chucky, I would have hated that because it just would have been a copycat. And that's how I feel about this 2007 remake. It's almost like the Batman Begins of the Halloween franchise, where it takes a real world approach where Michael was a human. He was a regular person like you and me that was getting bullied, had circumstances in life that he felt were unfair. Only difference is most of us pushed through that and ended up living lives, while Michael decided to grab a branch and beat Judy from Spy Kids to death.
Please help. I'm sorry.
This Halloween film to me is a character going from human to losing all of his humanity and becoming the evil shape we know today. Bringing me to another reason why I also really like Rob Zombie's Halloween, and the fact that it's just so vile and uncomfortable. That might seem like a weird positive, but watching this movie back, even though I've seen it already at 12 years old, the movie's very unsettling, unforgiving, and does something that I love where you feel bad for every person that's killed, like this boyfriend who wasn't even mean mean to Michael, but who just happened to be in the home when Michael finally decided that I'm killing people, beats him with a bat, and just the little touches Rob Zombie adds to the movie where the actor twitches as if to say that one bat from a young Michael Myers was enough to give him brain damage. It's the ballsy approach that Rob Zombie's known for in being very grotesque with his style in telling a story where you kind of want to turn your head away, but my eyes are just glued to the insanity happening on screen. Now, not all of this always works out. I feel like Rob Zombie never truly understands when to use the John Carpenter Halloween music in this movie, as the first time he plays it, it was when Michael is running away from school, when he should have used that theme the first time Michael puts on his mask as adult Michael. Same goes for all the other musical cues in this film. It doesn't seem to fit very well. Or, like when Michael goes after to kill his sister Judith, the rubbing of his own sister's leg implying a bit of a sexual fascination for her, and the little too early of explanation we get of how he receives the Michael Myers mask, I think is a little ridiculous. I mean, if you were someone who grew up watching George Lopez, when I look at this scene, I think about those episodes where George Lopez would have flashbacks and they would just put his giant head on little bodies. That's what I'm seeing right here. Michael Myers is in the future daydreaming about this moment, and we're seeing his big old head flashback. But after his kill spree, Michael's mother comes home to find him and Lori on the porch as she's horrified at everything that's just happened. This is where the movie then goes ahead and starts to develop the relationship between our new Loomis, played by Malcolm McDowell, as he begins his therapy sessions with young Michael Myers.
Why do you talk so funny?
Talk so funny.
And again, is a reason why I think this film shines and is unique enough that it separates itself from the previous Halloween films, because throughout these visits, his mother still visits him and has high hopes that Michael will get better, as Michael tries to play up this whole oblivious charm that he doesn't know what happened. And Sherry Moon, who plays Deborah Myers, just really sells it. So now a character that previously meant nothing in the Halloween films now gets real spotlight thanks to Rob Zombie, where I myself grew so attached to the point that after Michael goes ahead and kills one of the nurses at this mental institution, and then the mother going home that same day to kill herself watching family videos, it's a punch to the gut that actually brings real emotion out of me. But from there, the movie decides to cut 15 years later, where Michael is now a huge, giant, grown adult. Another complaint from Halloween fans that they went ahead and oversized Michael, when I think that's just a nitpick. I mean, Michael's always been this incredibly strong being, so what's wrong with giving him a stature that kind of matches that strength? I did love how this movie explored the idea of why Michael likes masks and wanting to hide his face, although they were a little too specific.
I don't like you to hide your face. It hides my ugliness.
Excuse me, sir. I hope my horrible ugliness won't be a distraction to you.
Not at all, boy.
But we see here Danny Trejo's character, another Spy Kids alumni, as a caretaker who's been looking after Michael ever since he was a kid, walking him to one of his last sessions with Dr. Loomis. Here's where we find out that since that incident with the nurse, Michael has not spoken for 15 years, and while some Halloween fans might think that's because he got a kill and also this institution just kind of broke down his character, I think it's obvious that it's because his mother died, and that was kind of the last thing that was keeping Michael human, was the hope of being reunited with his mother and maybe living a semi-normal life because he's gotten rid of the bullies in his life. And you can call Michael a mama's boy for that, but I think it works. But again, being fair, one of the things that doesn't work for me is then this version of Dr. Loomis. Up until this point, I was really on board with this version, but here in their last meeting, he explains that he's just gonna give up on Michael, that he feels there's nothing he can do for him, but at the same time, he'll still go ahead and use Michael as a subject for his next book for a little fame and fortune, making this version of Dr. Loomis a little bit more of a grade character than a guilted psychologist who feels almost responsible for Michael turning out the way he did because he couldn't help him, like Donald Pleasance. Still, I applaud it for taking a different approach, but I just feel like this one doesn't make sense given his motivations towards the end of this movie, in wanting to actually stop Michael when you've already given up on him. But now with the last connection of his childhood behind, Michael feels like he's done living this asylum and then just decides out of nowhere to just escape. But the bloodbath that Michael has in this movie with his sheer strength, I think still has my jaw to the ground. But not just my jaw, also my damn heart, because then this has to happen.
Oh. Now, don't do nothing we're both gonna regret later, okay, Mikey? I'm gonna try to put these handcuffs on you right now, Mikey, and then we'll get you back into your own bed, okay?
This kill single-handedly scarred me as a kid because like I told you, I saw it at 12 years old, and this Michael is just pure evil, okay? He has no sympathy in his heart. He is just a deranged being that needs to be stopped. This is why I loved Rob Zombie's interpretation of the character, because a lot of these kills I feel for. And that should say something where we've watched already 9 movies of this character just killing endlessly, and almost every kill in Rob Zombie's Halloween I feel bad for, not only because of the physical pain they're enduring, but what some of these characters mean in context to the film. But with Michael now on the loose, he goes off to recreate his iconic outfit, stopping at a truck stop where he meets...
Let me introduce myself. I'm Joe Grizzly, bitch.
In what is another brutal fight that really shows off the strength that Michael has and how someone would not stand a chance on a one-on-one fight with him. And I don't even know if that'll be because of his strength. I think it'll be because of that smelly ass outfit. Like, can you imagine the bean burrito farts that were happening in that suit before Michael put it on? I don't want to think about that. Bringing it full circle with Haddonfield, Illinois, October 31st, Halloween Day, where we meet grown-up Laurie, the baby sister of Michael here, and this is where Rob Zombie's Halloween takes a bit of a dip for me. Because the next couple minutes of this movie are nothing but recreating a lot of the scenes from John Carpenter's Halloween, and I feel it just doesn't work as well. I totally get why Rob Zombie went ahead and did this, because he wanted to obviously pay homage to that movie with these scenes, when honestly, you already jumped the shark of being so different from John Carpenter's Halloween to now so late in the film, you go ahead and just recreate those scenes. I feel is a waste of time, and you could have done something a lot better. Because there are nuggets of things that he does better in this interpretation than that happened in the John Carpenter movie, like the group of friends that Laurie has. Not only because one of them is played by the great Danielle Harris, back for another Halloween movie, even if she's not the character of Jamie, Rob Zombie deserves all the brownie points in the world for bringing her into this movie, as I feel it shows a little respect towards the fans. But I do like the relationship these friends have in this version as opposed to John Carpenter's movie. There is real chemistry on screen that it feels like I'm actually looking into a friendship like some sort of creep. Also, with all respect in the world to Jamie Lee Curtis as Laurie Strode, this version of Laurie has a lot more personality oozing off the screen, where you do kind of have that argument about nature and nurture thrown in here, because she seems to be throwing off a lot of tendencies that would be coming from her real family.
Elvis, Guess what, Mom? Mr. Nichols touched me the wrong way. Oh! Look at this, Mom.
Laurie!
I'm sorry.
And where she is a little vile and vulgar, not being able to shrug off that Myers side of her. But now, as a lot of these scenes are being recreated, we do cut to Michael finally making it home, digging through the floorboards to find his iconic mask that, let's just go ahead and talk about it here. What the hell came in the mail, man? I don't know what it is about a Rob Zombie Halloween mask that made it so hard to find online, but this is the closest thing I could get. It's also the first mask out of my entire Halloween review series that is not from Trick or Treat Studios, as all of these masks right here are from Trick or Treat Studios, if you were wondering. But ignoring my horrible crappy mask that came in the mail, I really liked Rob Zombie's Michael Myers mask, and even though I bashed the fact that I hated that they showed the mask so early in Michael's childhood, it was a good excuse so that it could be weathered down and have these wrinkled cracks in the modern era. I do just hate how Michael's long hair just tends to disappear completely whenever he puts it on, but that's besides the point. As that is happening though, we will get Dr. Loomis meeting up with the town sheriff, played by Brad Dourif, good old Charles Lee Ray Chucky. Another reason why I so respect this movie, and just throwing in all these little horror Easter eggs. Rob Zombie did not need to bring in Charles Lee Ray Chucky, but the fact he did, yes. But now the Sheriff Brackett and Dr. Loomis are on their way to go find Michael Myers. We cut back to Laurie, who's saying goodbye to her foster parents as she's on her way to babysit. And instead of us directly following Laurie into her babysitting job like John Carpenter's Halloween, we get something much more in line with this version of Michael Myers that Rob Zombie sets up, and that's Michael attacking this family. And again, when Rob Zombie is doing his own thing with Michael here and not just recreating moments from John Carpenter's Halloween, it really works for me. This is a different side of Michael we've never seen before, because he has a clear motive to find his sister, plus mixing in that punch of emotion like I was telling you, because I really like this foster family for Laurie. I was so sad that her family was being killed off, but also was so refreshing to see Michael take a different approach to his motive, where he's even shoving a photo of Laurie right in front of the mom's face, as that's something we never really saw Michael do in his previous film. From here, Laurie is now babysitting both Tommy Doyle and Lindsay Wallace, characters from the original movie, while at the same time, across the street, Danielle Harris's character is getting it busy with her boyfriend, and I gotta admit, it's just kind of weird. I was just so used to following little Jamie Danielle Harris that now seeing her...
Fuck me? I hear you say it.
Is this allowed? But even if you're one of those pervs enjoying full grown-up legal Jamie, I don't think you could have enjoyed it for much longer, because Rob Zombie turns this teen romance into something very vile and hard to watch, bringing me back to some of those more uncomfortable moments where you want to turn away but you just can't. This is the gritty realism that sometimes is involved with murder. Yeah, you're looking at a naked woman, but you're also looking at one in stress, fearing for her life, as Michael is not being gentle at all. I really don't see how a lot of Halloween fans can see these sequences go down and not praise what Rob Zombie was able to do. There are very few moments in the previous Halloween films that carry this much weight to them. Laurie finding her friend bloodied up with her boyfriend hanging from a pumpkin, as these kids who were just having a great Halloween moments ago are now running down the street begging for help. And don't even get me started on when Sheriff Brackett walks into his daughter on the floor in his house. Yeah, they might have taken away the mystery with Michael Myers, but they did not take away his brutality or relentlessness at all. Bringing us to where Michael finally is able to grab his sister, take her back to his house where he presents a shrine for her, and without words kind of express the fact that they can be a happy little family now that everyone around them is dead, so they only have each other. Of course, Laurie not understanding this at all, because who can look at their baby pictures and realize that was them, attacking Michael, and him now not having any reason to keep Laurie alive as she's just another bad person in his life, chasing her down, attempting to kill her, ending up in their pool. Wait a minute, this is the backyard of the Myers house. Y'all had that big ass pool? Okay, now I am calling BS on Rob Zombie's Halloween. Michael, you grew up with a pool in your backyard? Your life wasn't that bad, man. I didn't even have a pool growing up. I should be killing people. But Dr. Loomis comes in to save the day, shooting Michael in the back 3 times till he falls, putting Laurie inside of a squad car as they repeat some lines from the original movie.
Was that the boogeyman?
As a matter of fact, I do believe it was.
Thinking that would be the end of it, as that's where the last film ended off. Nope, Rob Zombie decides to keep on a-truckin' in a move I think says, this ain't your grandpappy's Halloween, this is my Halloween, appearing to kill off Dr. Loomis with a little head squeeze. Man, this sequence of him chasing Laurie down and how she's on top of the roof trying to get away while Michael's just trying to hit her with this big 2x4, it works for me because it's all unique and fits in line with this version of Michael Myers that you set up. And then seeing Laurie finally fall through the roof, get up as this really wounded victim. And I'm not talking about Hollywood bruised up pretty, no. Laurie has a straight up Nostradamus face going up with blood coming out everywhere. Michael then deciding to tackle his sister, with Rob Zombie putting his own spin on why Michael would end up falling from the 2nd story onto his lawn. Laurie straddling her brother, pointing the gun down at him until she finally shoots, killing off her brother, becoming a survivor of that night. But at what cost? Because you could just tell from this screen she is going to be left very traumatized. I freaking love that ending for Halloween, and the goosebumps I get from just hearing Laurie yell after that bullet shot. Man, this movie is freaking awesome, okay? I'll still say John Carpenter's Halloween is miles better, but Rob Zombie's Halloween movie made buckets of money for a reason, and I think that's because it really did a good job with bringing Michael into a new era, and I could not have been more excited to see what else they were planning to do with this version of Michael. Now that they set it up in a grounded real reality, we weren't going to be seeing any Thorn cults or really dumb stupid reasons for why Michael always ended up surviving even though he clearly just got shot in the face. This seemed to be a franchise where they were just setting up a realistic killer out there that definitely don't ride white horses, right? But those are just my opinions on Rob Zombie's Halloween. Look, I completely understand if you hate the movie, and I would love to hear your opinion down below on why specifically you hate it. Either way, I appreciate you guys watching this video, and I will catch you on the next Halloween review.